Hey Toy Family, welcome to the Marsham Toy Hour, where we discuss anything and everything designer toys. I'm Gary Ham.
I'm George Gaspar.
And it's just you and I tonight, George.
I love it. Old school.
Old school. Well, actually, that's not true. We do have a guest with us, but let's. How about you and I catch up a little bit?
Sure.
So, is Behind the Counter, is that currently wrapped up? I've been listening to episodes, and it sounds like you guys are going to be taking a break. So, have you done all the recording for all those episodes already?
No, we go right through decon. So we'll go right up to the beginning of decon. We'll have our, we'll shoot stuff. I don't know what's going to happen at decon because we all have booths. So we got to do something, but we're going right up to decon, and then we go on a little hiatus for Christmas break.
Okay, so it's like a seasonal break. So season one's pretty much in the books for you guys.
Yeah, like season one was, January through decon, basically. That's our season. And then we'll start up again in January if the show comes back.
You guys doing anything big for sweeps or anything like that?
Sweeps? Is it sweeps time?
We don't have that in the podcast world, do we? I know, like television.
No, because no one ever stops. You just keep going forever and ever.
But that was always awesome on the TV shows where they have like crossovers and stuff like that, to have like a big sweeps week where they try to get a larger audience, I guess.
We need a Marsham crossover where you come on the show.
There you go. I won't be in town though.
You're coming for decon.
I know, but then I'll be gone on Monday. In and out.
Well, you got to at least do a little intro for us.
I could do that. So, George, I did mention that we're going to have a guest tonight, so let's just get right to him. Our guest today is a Swede that now lives in Brooklyn, New York. He has a film background and actually used to help produce music videos for bands in Sweden. He and his wife later moved to the States, where they owned and operated and ran a gallery in New York City for 5 years called Bold Hype. After the birth of their daughter, though, they were inspired to close the gallery in pursuit of other interests that would allow them to work from home and squeeze in more family time. So one of those interests for our guest was design and sculpt his wonderfully whimsical world of characters and dabble in the world of toy making. In 2017 alone, he has already self-produced 2 toys of his own design, the Wizard and the upcoming Dessert Oracle. So let's welcome Eric Althin, a.k.a. Sad Salesman.
Hey, thank you. Wow, that was quite an intro.
I put some research into that one.
I can tell.
What I like to do with the intros is that easily what I just rattled off could have taken up the first 30 minutes of the show, kind of getting all that out of you. So it's like I throw it in the intro, and now we can move on to toys.
Great.
Yeah.
We're just going to gloss over that he makes music videos for bands? We can't talk about that at all?
Sure, we can.
All right, good. I don't want to just let that go by the wayside.
Are you very knowledgeable in the world of Swedish bands, George?
Are they all Swedish bands? Is that what it was? Like, was it like Swedish death metal? What kind of music?
There might have been a Swedish death metal in there somewhere, but we did kind of a techno band and a more like alternative pop duo. Yeah, we dabbled in some music videos.
That's awesome.
Me and my wife, we actually met in film school. And so after film school, we started doing some music videos.
That's really cool.
That scene kind of died down. Like what was the last music video you watched?
Well, I mean, it's just YouTube now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything's on like pretty much streaming at this point. Even like the late night talk shows. When was the last time you actually sat down and watched a late night talk show? You pretty much just watch like the best of clips through YouTube at this point.
Although I do catch Conan occasionally.
Conan's good. I like Conan. Now, I don't detect any sort of accent from you at all. How long did you live in Sweden?
Well, I was born there, and I moved in 91, so I was 11 years old when I came over here.
Okay. But then you moved back to Sweden with your wife, correct?
Yeah, we did a short, about a 1-year little stint there. Yeah, she did like an intense Swedish course, and just by living there and taking the classes, she learned Swedish like a rock star.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this is where you did all, in just that 1-year period you were there, this is where you did all like the music videos and stuff?
Yes and no. We did a couple there. And then when we moved back, we continued. I think we did one more, and then we kind of moved on.
So how does that translate into your art background then? Were you also an artist on the side while doing filmography?
Yeah, like I would always be the one doing the storyboards, if you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a comic book version of what you're going to shoot.
Yep.
So I guess that kind of ties into that.
And then what made you want to leave Sweden? And I think you actually set up Bold Hype in Florida first. So what made you want to leave Sweden and then jump into the art gallery business?
Well, we knew we just wanted to kind of check out Sweden because that's, where I was from. And then she was very curious, and she got, a visa to stay there for a while. But we knew it wasn't permanent. And when we came back, we were looking for things to do, and I think we were just sitting around talking. And at first, we had the idea to start like a T-shirt shop, or we would draw, cool stuff for T-shirts. And at first we thought, well, maybe it'd just be online, and then, maybe we should get a location, and we could have art on the walls. I was obviously into art even then. Yeah. And the more we talked about it, the more it evolved to the walls being more important than the shirts. And when we did open Bold Hype, we did have kind of a section where there were T-shirts and some cool home accessories, things like that. But the main focus had shifted to the art.
You make it sound easy, like just starting your own shop gallery, just kind of just like, man, it just sort of happened.
Yeah, no, it wasn't easy. But we were very enthusiastic and young and energetic. And I think we put on some really cool shows.
So Bold Hype started in Florida, then you ended up picking up and moving to New York City. And then that has to be a big jump going from Florida to New York City, where the clientele, and I would assume the artistic inspiration is quite different.
Yeah, for sure. We wanted to be, I guess, taken a little more seriously and kind of dive right into the big juicy art scene up here in New York.
How was that received, being like just like a couple that started a gallery? How was it getting into the art scene in New York?
Well, there's so many galleries that it's not like a huge deal. Like, we were in a building, I think like the 4th floor of this building, just full of little galleries. So it was almost like a tiny little art.
Like a museum of galleries almost.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Just walk into the building and then stroll around and see all types of different art.
Now here's some trivia for you. Do you remember who you had do the mural for your opening in New York City? It was June 2010. Do you remember who did the mural?
Geez, we've had a lot of murals. We did. Skinner did a mural.
There you go, Skinner. You got it. You worked with quite a bit of what probably a lot of people in the toy scene are familiar with. You worked with Skinner and Doc A and Luke Chu and Christopher Reiniak and Amanda Louise Spade, Jason Freeney, Andrew Bell, and more. So, yeah, so it's not like you just kind of fell into the designer toy scene today with working with your toys. It's like you were working with these guys back in, since 2010.
Yeah, the interest for me was always there. At first, we mostly focused on paintings, but then, towards the end, where my interests were shifting more towards, sculptures and toy artists, I worked actually with Andrew Bell. He came by, and we started chatting, and then we kind of came up with this idea to work together and curate a sculpture show called New Dimensions. And, it had all those artists you just mentioned.
And you're actually a toy collector yourself, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Were you a toy collector back then?
I was. I think there was a period where I kind of backed off a little bit. I was super gung-ho in the very beginning when, Kid Robot released the first Dunny series.
Okay.
And I was in New York at the time. And, somebody had showed me a Dunny. I'm like, whoa, what is that? And they said, you can find these at Kid Robot. So I strolled over there and got wrapped up in that whole scene.
So much so were you one of the ones waiting for, in line for the release parties and all that? You hear stories all the time about how amazing it was in the early days of that small Kid Robot store in New York City.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I ever went that far. I'm not like a super fanboy or hype beast or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, you're like a casual collector then.
I am, yeah. But I remember after a while, once I had the whole, Dunny Series 1, getting into the Kid Robot message boards.
Yeah.
That was a huge forum with people who were doing customs and coming up with their own stuff. And then I started trying my own hand at that. I went by the handle of Zombie Duck, if anyone out there remembers Zombie Duck.
George, surely you remember that. You doing the Gwens, and then you love zombies. How do you not,
How did I not know? How did I not know Zombie Duck?
Right.
Yeah.
Tailor made.
Exactly. I started like doing all these customs of dunnies and posting them and getting feedback. And
wow,
I actually remember seeing Chris Rignac custom on there back in the day, and I was just like, oh my god, that's so much better than anything I can do.
Way to go, Chris! Shattering guys' dreams and hopes.
Right.
I'd say you're doing pretty okay for yourself today, though. You're doing some really awesome work today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, style evolves over time, and you kind of find yourself, I think.
Sure. When do you think you found like your style that you have today? Like, how do you think what inspirations, or how many years do you think it took to finally get you to the point where you are today?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a slow little shifts here and there, and kind of pursuing something original and fun and something that speaks to who I am.
Right. And when you closed down Bold Hype, did you know that you were going to jump right into doing art? I know you do designs and artwork for like kids app games and stuff too, but you also started designing a world of characters of your own. You started sculpting, and then you got into toy production. Did you know before you closed the gallery that was a direction that you were wanting to head?
Not directly, but towards the end, I was doing more of my own art. In the back room of the gallery, I was kind of setting up a little studio, painting, and sending my own artwork to other galleries. But the sculptural elements kind of came later. Again, with the toy scene seemed, for me at least, it's burgeoning again. Is that something you guys are feeling like it took a lull, but now it's coming back?
Yeah, I've heard several people say that. I think we're having definitely another wave. I don't know what wave we're in. Maybe this is the third or fourth wave, but I know a lot of people say they started noticing the difference, around 2009 during the crash and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like it was later. I feel it was somewhere between like 2012. I started noticing like a slight dip in interest and stuff like that, and it has evolved into something different than when you first started collecting. I think it's a lot more designers doing stuff today than say established artists like it was back then. There's a lot more self-production and independent, producers doing resin work, and definitely a lot more pop culture influence in our toy scene today too. So, but yeah, I think there's definitely a resurgence going on.
Right. Well, yeah, for me, like I said, I started collecting, the Dunny Series 1, and then there was Series 2, and then there's Series 3, and all of a sudden you don't see the end of it. And you're walking into like Urban Outfitters, and there's Dunnies there, and it was just too much. Like I lost track. I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I get that.
But then, now I started noticing kind of more aesthetics that appealed to me, and I'm finding little indie artists and artists overseas that are doing some really cool stuff.
Now, what appeals to you?
What appeals to me?
Do you like the sculptural stuff, or do you like the more simplified stuff? Like, as far as the Dunny goes, do you prefer it when it's just artwork or designs applied to the basic Dunny platform, or do you like it, now where they're headed more in a very almost heavy sculpted Dunny in most of the new series?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on the artist when it comes to Dunnies. I'm not really collecting all that many Dunnies anymore. I'm focusing more on indie artists and finding things through Instagram or whatever. A lot of like Japanese and Asian vinyl, and
that's so hard to keep track of. How are you doing at it? I mean, it seems like constantly new artists and companies to stay on top of.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Instagram is an awesome tool for our scene. You get to discover new artists. You can check out what they're doing behind the scenes, and I don't know. That's how I discover a lot of new stuff, just sifting through Instagram, and then you can send someone a message, and a lot of the times they're like, yeah, sure, send me your address, and here's my PayPal.
Huh. Well, speaking of finding new stuff, how about we jump into our segment, Leaks and Sneak Peeks, for just a brief moment, and then we'll get back to you. Are you familiar with Leaks and Sneak Peeks?
Yes, I am.
All right, and George, you got something?
I got plenty of things.
Oh, okay, good. Eric, with you being our guest this evening, how about you go first?
All right, yeah, you kind of mentioned the segment, so I was scouring the dark web for something.
And it's hard. It's harder to find something than you would expect, right?
Yes, it is.
Just because for listeners, like you don't know, it's like when we're looking for leaks and sneak peeks, we're trying to find something that hasn't been widely talked about, something that hasn't already like been released. Like we're trying to find something for next week that's going to be like somewhat fresh for you, and that's not easy to come by because it just isn't. It's harder to find a leak than you would actually assume.
Yeah, all the toy blogs are so good at what they do. But yeah, I did find something that I didn't really see mentioned anywhere. And that was it's kind of a cool Sofubi version of the Tofu Man. I don't know if you know that guy with like the cube head.
I do.
He's been around forever, I guess. But I haven't really seen one like this. It's all white and it's Japanese vinyl. I'm taking it. They're calling it Sofubi. It's about 5 inches tall.
Okay.
And right now it's just a pre-order. I think it's just a prototype they're showing. And it's about $40. And you can find it at milkcargo.com.
Milkcargo.com. Now, is it meant to be a blank, do you think? With it being all white?
I don't know. I think, like, I copied and pasted the text into Translator.
Babelfish or something like that?
No, it was just a Google Translate. And I don't know. It says, the first bomb with pure white color to meet with the fans. The number is very rare. Very valuable collection.
You know what? I think you just created a new segment for the show. Google translations of toy news. I do. This is it. Thank you. Next episode, That's what the game's going to be.
Try and guess the toy from the Google Translate?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know what they mean by the first bomb.
I have no idea. Speaking of bomb, should we bring up the dope? Can you say dope? Can you say dope for me?
Sure. Gosh, that's dope.
That's exactly how I pictured you saying it. So, listeners, what you don't know is I posted something on Instagram, and it was the Hermes, the mini Hermes that we did with Flat Bonnie, and you commented dope, and I had to chuckle out loud, and I had to let you know. I was like, I met you at 5 points, and I just cannot picture the word dope coming out of you. I don't know. I just found like I chuckle out of that.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm way too dorky to be using that word, but I feel like maybe the dorks can take it.
George, say dope for me.
Dope.
That doesn't work for you either.
Dude, it's dope.
You gotta take all the attitude and coolness out of it and be like, wow, that's dope.
It's like when I was a skater kid and my dad, he would like try to assimilate with us and he'd use words like, that's radical, son, or that's awesome. And I don't know, we would look at him weird because it just didn't come out of him right. And I'm not trying to make fun of you at all, but but you know what I mean. I say
it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's I kind of giggle when I say it online. I rarely use it in real life, but it's
okay.
It's funny to use it, especially when commenting on something like a cute toy. Like,
right. I mean, it's just not something I was expecting to come from you. I mean, I'm not an expert on the word, the etymology of the word dope, but I'm pretty sure it's not like the white guy from Sweden. It's
yeah.
But it's funny because it is such a common term now. But I don't know. It's funny. It wasn't something I was expecting. But anyways, where were we? What were we talking about? I sidetracked it with that one.
Dope things.
Dope things. Dope news. Dope news.
Your turn to leak something, I think.
Oh, that's right. You were talking about the white tofu guy, and we're trying to decide what the bomb was of the translation, and I have no idea.
Maybe drop.
Oh, maybe. Could be. Oh, this is gonna be a fun segment. I'm gonna pull a whole bunch of these over the weekend.
Drop that.
Now, are you gonna take like Spanky Stokes' announcement and then put it through Google Translate to something else and then retranslate it back and see what happens? Or are you going to find foreign stuff and just translate it?
I mean, how would the Spanky stuff work? Because it's already in English. It wouldn't.
Yeah, but you take it, you translate it to, Japanese.
Oh,
and then you take that, you
translate
translate it to German, and then you take the German and translate it back to English.
I could do both. I could see what comes out as funniest.
I think if you just run it through like two different things, you'll get something good.
Good. That's a good idea. I'll try that.
You'll end up
dope.
Poetry, I think.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Because I mean, those translators are not very good. They're getting a lot better than they used to be, but they're still. I mean, I go to sometimes some of these Eastern websites and I'll hit translate, and it's,
Yeah, you can kind of get the gist, but it's also like you get a nose reading it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best things I see on Instagram are actually of people that are traveling abroad somewhere where there's, it's not the English language, but they're seeing a signage or a toy
Right.
or something where, someone that works at a factory or a department store somewhere is doing what their translation of English is, and it's so horribly wrong that it's hilarious. And
Yeah, I've seen the pictures of like the T-shirts that are just totally wrong.
yeah.
Raunchy, and grandmas are wearing them.
Did you have another leak, or is tofu all you have?
Well, I did mention to you earlier this Red U, Gang of Villains and Thieves by Chino Lamb, which is a really dope figure, right up my alley with its kind of goofiness.
Goofy and kind of derpy looking, and yet like really well sculpted. I really like that piece too.
I love it. Yeah, if there's an element of dopiness or derpiness, I'm there.
And he's wearing wearing his life preserver, or not it's not a life preserver. Well, it is, I guess. It's like a floaty life preserver, but he's a fish, and that's kind of around his waist. Chino Lamb is doing. I don't know where he came from. He just came out of the blue in the last 2 years, and every release he seems to be doing is really, really good.
Yeah, he did like that chubby cat guy before, right?
Yeah. The Zoo series that Mame Mayashi was doing, and I gotta say, man, Mame Mayashi is doing phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. So it's not really a leak because I guess it's old news, but it's finally out, I believe, in Asia. And
did you get one?
Well, through the wonders of Instagram, I was able to. I just kind of commented on someone who was posting their loot from one of these conventions, I guess, and I saw it there. I'm like, oh man, where can I get one? And someone was like, hey, I can help you out.
Nice.
And I got a bunch of direct messages saying like, yeah, hold on, let me get one for you. Just here's my PayPal.
For the low mule fee of like $100.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably.
You know what we're talking about, George? I bet you don't.
Right. I have no idea. I tuned out like 4 minutes ago.
That's what I love about you, George. You're always in the know. So, okay, let's fold George into it, and let's get... So, George, what'd you bring for Legion Sneak Peeks? You got like a Kickstarter or a pin?
I'll do a little couch funded on you right here.
All right, let's go couch funded.
So I have three things. I'm gonna let you pick two of them, and then I'm not even gonna say anything about the third. So you pick. I have patches, I got puppets, or I got church. What do you want?
Let's just get rid of church. I don't want any religion on this show.
You know me though. You really think it's going to be normal?
No.
All right. So we want patches and puppets.
Patches and puppets. Let's do it.
All right. So the patches is it's actually a guy I've backed many times before. I think this is his 10th patch Kickstarter. This guy by the name of George Coghill, and he does this one is called Legendary Legion Folklore Creature Embroidered Patches. And they are, he basically all of his patch sets are, they're branded as kind of like, there was ones that were like, Troll Army or something Navy or something like that. So this one is the Ogre Brigade, the Goblin Squad, the Troll Army, the Elf Troop, and the Fairy Force, and the Gnome Patrol. And each one of them are darn in like 70s blacklight style almost.
Cool.
And they're just, it's just a simple patch set. I think it comes out to like $10 a patch or less, something like that, depending on which one you buy, if you want the exclusive and all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out. Probably just type in George Coghill would be the easiest way to find it. or Legendary Legion, maybe that will come up. It's probably, yeah, it'll be funded in a couple days, probably in a day or so. By the time this is up, it'll probably be funded. He usually funds pretty fast.
Okay.
So yeah, good on back this guy. He always delivers good. He always delivers, around the time he says he's gonna. He does all the artwork ahead of time and usually starts the patches ahead of time, at least getting samples made so he knows that they're going to be on time. He's got tons of his old stuff up. If you missed any of the old ones and you kind of like the look, he's done some Halloween ones in the past. He's done Krampus. He's done like Bigfoot stuff. So he's got a lot of cool stuff to look on. Even if you're not into the new ones, you can get some of the old stuff now.
Cool.
And then for puppets, this is actually it's kind of a reset Kickstarter where they did this in the past. It's called Frank and Zed Puppet Monster Movie. These guys have done it. It's this guy Jesse Blanchard, I think is how you say it. And I think he's up in Portland area, and he's doing originally he was going to do a puppet short, a horror puppet short it's Frankenstein and a zombie, and it's like their battle, I think.
Okay.
And then when they got funded last time, they got overfunded, so they got super into it, and since they had extra money, they decided to make it a feature length. So they went from like a short 30 minutes to like 90 minutes.
Wow.
And it's a feature length thing, and it's almost complete. They've done so much work on it. I've been, I was a backer of the original one, so I have been watching all the updates, and I get all the, he posts like little scenes here and there. He did behind the scenes with all the artists and stuff like that. And it looks incredible. The puppets are really cool. There's a lot of like real effects in the real practical effects in the puppet stuff. So like, puppets' hands are falling off, for the zombie kind of thing, and like teeth fall out, or the guy's like, on fire and smoking and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of cool, like, because there's torch scenes and things like that. Then they make all of the sets too. Like they rented this like garage, and they've made all of these sets to have this puppet movie. Wow. So these guys have done a ton of work, and they're asking for some finishing funds just to get the final push to make sure that the sound correction is done well, and all the color correction in the end and everything, just to kind of bring it home. They're just trying to get over that last little hump.
Right, but they got the funds from the 30-minute video. It was their decision to go and make a 90-minute version, make it 60 minutes longer. So shouldn't they be responsible for the funds at this point?
No, I'm actually all for it. I think that this is, well, and that's the thing, is they've delivered everything from the first campaign except for the film. They've delivered. Okay. So all the stuff that they promised, outside of you getting the DVD, is already delivered. And I'm sure that if he had to, if this didn't fund, they would find a way to just make it happen anyway. Mm-hmm. Because it's they're making this thing one way or the other. They just want to have the little budget to kind of go above and beyond where they're going.
Right. So
yeah, I'm all for it. I think this is I have faith that these guys are going to do it. They've been working really hard to get this thing done, and yeah, I think it's going to be really incredible when it's done. All the stuff I've seen so far looks really cool.
That sounds awesome.
It's puppets, not like stop motion.
No, yeah, it's full puppets, like just old school, hand up the back, control in the mouth, that kind of thing. And these guys are, I don't know when the last full puppet movie was, but what is it? Meet the Feebles, maybe. Like I don't know. I don't know if people. I mean, when's the last time someone made a full puppet movie? Because it's not like Muppets where there's people too. Like that's.
Oh. Yeah.
This is like 100%. The cast is 100% puppet.
If I went right now and looked at the Kickstarter, what would I see? Would I see like clips of what they've already finished?
Yeah, they've got they don't have a full trailer, but they have a bunch of clips that they've shown. He put up, I think one of the updates has all of the stuff. He went through the whole. Because they have the whole movie basically shot. So he went through and he wanted to take out 90 seconds or something like that. So throughout the whole thing, he cut, a half a second here, a half a second there. So out of this 90 seconds that this guy cut, it's basically, you could kind of see the movie in a way, because it's from all the different scenes, but they're literally like half a second here and like a second here, that kind of thing. It's really cool. It's amazing just to see all the work they put into this. It's worth going just to check it out. If you're into puppets at all, these puppets are really cool. There's a lot of like sculpted stuff. There's, just, it's worth checking out just to see, puppet work, really.
See, now I'm glad that I kicked Church out. This sounds better than Church.
Well, go up and look up Bob Dobb, Church of the Subgenius, too.
Oh, Bob Dobb. You didn't say it was Bob Dobb Church. Now I
Now
gotta
you're
look it up.
interested.
Now
Well,
I'm
I'll
interested.
save that for next week.
Okay.
We took Bob Dobb back in the gallery.
You had Bob Dobb?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you're going to want to go look up Bob Dobb on Kickstarter then.
We chose wrong, Eric. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, you got it out of me anyway.
There you go. Enough to at least, find it on our own. You gave us a couple little hints.
Exactly.
And I'm just thinking about Meet the Feebles.
Yeah, go watch that again too if you haven't seen that in a while.
All right, so I guess I'm next, and my leak is actually it's something you guys have probably seen already by now. It's been seen for a couple weeks, and actually it saw its pre-release at New York Comic Con. But it's the Kill Cat, the 6-inch vinyl toy by Andrew Bell, which for anyone who hasn't seen it is kind of like a evil anthropomorphic Kit Kat bar. And the Kill Cat was originally seen in 2012 as part of Andrew's Killer Candy series of evil candy sculptures that he created at Stranger Factory. They have a Halloween group show that they do every year, and so that's where they first saw him. So it took 5 years. 5 years later, Andrew has finally made these available to the masses in vinyl, and it's pretty amazing.
Dude, I'm excited for that piece. I think it looks so cool.
It's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's awesome. And each vinyl Kill Cat figure comes sealed in a uniquely evil-themed Kit Kat-styled foil wrapper that you need to tear open to get the toy out, which is housed in the toy is actually housed in a 2-part clamshell inside the foil wrapper. So the toy is somewhat protected,
But you have to break the seal to get it?
but you still have to tear it open like a regular candy. There's no
that's awesome.
There's no clean way to open it. Like, you have to tear it like a normal candy. And inside is the toy, inside a 2-part clamshell. And one thing that's great about this toy is, like, Andrew's always done great packaging for his toys, but I think the Kill Cat might be the best one yet because, as George, no one wants to keep the packaging. So the packaging's not bulky. There's no window box, so you have to take out the toy. And yet, if you decide to keep it, the packaging looks amazing displayed either next to the toy or if the toy is still coming out of it. I've seen photos of it, like, still in the torn wrapper, and his teeth look like he's kind of like gnawing his way out of the packaging. So I think it's brilliantly executed by Andrew. And
yeah, I mean, you want to keep that torn wrapper. That's part of it. Like a torn wrapper with the candy guy coming from it. That's amazing.
Exactly. The fact that it's part of the toy. And it's not big. It's not a big, bulky item. It's just kind of this small candy wrapper. It kind of goes along with it. I think it's really, toss the clamshell, but keep the foil wrapper.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that happened. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be available in first it's going to be a milk chocolate colorway, but what's cool about it is 1 in 10 is going to be a dark chocolate chase with glow-in-the-dark eyes. So that's pretty cool. And they're currently available for pre-order for $39.99 at most vinyl toy retailers and Andrew Bell's web store, deadzebra.com. Well, if you pre-order now, you're expected to have a shipping date of late October, so you're not going to have to wait long. And if you're going to be at DesignerCon, Andrew Bell will be there. He'll be there exhibiting, have his own booth, so he will also have these available there. And along with the Kill Cat, he's also releasing a new mini-series of blind-boxed keychains called Ono Single Servings, based on his own designs. And those are rad also. I think those are going to be $6.99. So that's really cool to see Andrew, delving into the blind box. Well, he's been doing Androids for a while, but I think this is the first time he's done a blind box series of his own design. So this is cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and I reached out to Andrew for a little bit of the information on these. I want to make sure it was a foil wrapper, and he says it is a foil wrapper, but it's like a heavy-duty foil wrapper. It's a little more than a Kit Kat, so it's a good heavyweight foil wrapper. But he also told me he is going to have a secret production collaborative toy between himself and another artist releasing at DesignerCon. So I don't know what that is, but that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Look forward to something else come in a couple weeks.
And the nice thing about those Kill Cats is, like, the way Kit Kat puts out candy, it's unlimited colorways.
Oh, yeah.
They have so many different colors of so many different flavors.
Yeah, one of the ones he did back in 2012 was, over in, I think, Japan, they have a green tea colorway.
Yeah, you got to do the green
So,
tea.
green
That's so
tea,
good.
and someone just went over to Japan. They came at my work. Went over to Japan. They came back and he gave me I think it was like a wasabi Kit Kat or something like that.
Nice.
So you were right. There's so many different flavors, and there's probably a cookies and cream, and so yeah. I mean, if it does well for him, and I think
White
it will.
chocolate. You got to do everything.
White
I mean,
chocolate,
I'd
yeah.
buy every color of those. I can't
Yeah.
eat Kit Kat, so I'd love to have all these.
And one of the other candy killers he did was, so he did the Kill Cat, but he also did these ones called Kisses of Death, which were little Hershey Kisses with the same, like, anthropomorphic evil transformation. And I think if the Kill Cat does really well, I hope that he would consider self-producing the Kisses of Death, as a follow-up.
That would be amazing. I wish like someone from the candy company would see this and like get behind it and just like make it huge, because it's such a cool thing that if someone was smart there, they would run with it and make it an official thing.
I agree totally. And this is the kind of mashup crossover that I like. It's not, a lot of people today are doing, licensed work, unlicensed work, and they're kind of mashing up. You see it all the time on bootlegs, which is fine. I have no problem with. But I think this is a little more creative in what he's doing. It's sort of like an untapped area, and maybe some other artists have done renditions of evil candy. I'm sure they have, but I've always.
Well, I mean,
loved...
how many at Halloween? How many like candy corn monsters have you seen?
Exactly.
Zillion,
Right.
So it's like it's not like
Right.
a new idea, but then there's something different about it than like the Ron English propaganda cereal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something different about this that I find more enticing for some reason, and I don't know why, but it's just maybe because it's like it's become his own. It's an Andrew Bell character instead of like taking a Rice Krispie character and making him fat. Like this is different in a way, like because there isn't like a Kit Kat character. I don't know, for some reason it just seems different, and I just like this more.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's making a statement about candy being bad. It's just it happens to be an evil candy bar.
Yeah, you're just making a fun character.
Yeah.
Plus it's still, you can see his art in it. You can still see his style.
Yep.
So it's cool.
And what's cool, even back when he did the one-off sculpts in 5 years ago, like even back then he did the wrappers to coincide with it, with all sort of little descriptions. I think the expiration date of the Kill Cat is like 666 and stuff like that. It's like nice little touches like that I think are really cool and unique. And Andrew's always been great at doing packaging to kind of complement his toys. It was really good also too. I think the price is good. It's a 6-inch toy with a unique packaging, and it's not outrageous. It's only $40. I think that's I don't know. To me, it sounds like a great price point.
Yeah, for sure. I actually got to fondle his Kit Kat.
Whoa.
Oh, that's right. You were at New York Comic Con. I know that was released through the My Plastic Heart booth, as well as your Dessert Oracle. So yeah, that makes sense that you got to fondle it.
Yes, I did. They took it out of the case, and
I heard it. I heard it did really well. I heard it sold out at New York Comic Con. So now they're just waiting for I assume what happened is Andrew probably had his manufacturing samples flown over for New York Comic Con, and now we're just waiting for the cargo ship to bring over the rest and then distribute them to the world.
Right. Yeah, that's what they told me too. Like it was already sold out. They had like one left that they let me check out.
Nice. Well, let's get back talking to you, Eric. But well, first let's take a little break and mention our sponsors. So first off, for all your designer toys needs, wants, and desires, be sure to head on over to StrangeCatToys.com. Fill up that cart and be sure to use promo code Marsham at checkout, and you'll receive 10% off your entire order. Also, we have 3DRetro.com, and 3D Retro also has an amazing brick and mortar location out there in beautiful Southern California. So while you're out there at DesignerCon, be sure to stop by 3D Retro. And for all your daily designer toy news, be sure to check out SpankyStokes.com and TheToyChronicle.com. Well, let's get back to talking about you and your Dessert Oracle that you recently had. How was New York Comic Con for you? That was the first release of Dessert Oracle, right?
Yeah. It was like a little sneaky pre-release. Originally, I had planned it for DesignerCon, but they showed up early, and I was talking to Vin from My Plastic Heart, and
good guy.
We concluded that there's no reason not to have him there.
Sure.
Okay, so they're not sold out because I went on your website to try and find one, and it's not up there, so it's not sold out, right?
Like I said, officially, I was going to release them at the Designer Con. It was just like a little
like a pre-release.
Yeah. So after DCon, yes, they're going to be online, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of distribution going for them.
Now you're going to be at DesignerCon though, so anyone who wants one, we can pick it up there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the artist. I don't think called the artist alley or what. It's I believe it's a separate building, like Hall C.
Oh yeah. So you'll have one of the artist tables then.
Yes, and I'll have them there.
Nice.
Are you gonna? Can you bring some of your Pizza pins too?
Yes,
or however you say that.
There as
Okay,
well.
because I'm gonna buy one of those, and I'm gonna buy the new guy.
Sweet. Dope.
So let's talk about your characters. You're off to a nice start. I think you didn't even. I think I first noticed you at 5 points. You had the booth set up and you're selling the wizard, and wow, it blew me off my feet. I bought 2 right on the spot, and then I think Jesus,
thank you.
That was May. We're not even 6 months later, and you already have your second vinyl toy out. That's impressive.
Yeah, I applied for DCon kind of late and not fully expecting to get in, and then they emailed me back saying like, yeah, we love your stuff, please join us. And I was like, oh god, I gotta have something new, something cool. Oh god. And I messaged Pretty in Plastic to see what would be possible in such a short time, and yeah, they actually made it happen.
Got it in early, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah,
okay. Eric, what's the secret sauce here? So most people, when we're going over to China for production, it's a 9-month ordeal to send it over, go through the.
Didn't it say on the last packaging made in Mexico though, right?
Yes. The first.
There's the secret.
There you go.
Wizard was in Mexico, and yes, this one was made in China.
Oh wow, that's fast. You got a really good turnaround for China.
It wasn't. I think it surprised everybody. I don't know what they did or said or what, but they must have squeezed me in and made it happen.
So, do you notice any difference in quality going from Mexico to China then?
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of vinyl, but I'm super happy with it. I was super happy with the Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you, if there's anyone out there who doesn't have the Wizard yet, as soon as Gary told me about it after he got back from New York that time, I went immediately on the site and bought one. And I love this little guy. He's sitting on my desk right here next to me now, so I can definitely vouch for the cuteness of this figure, and I'll be first in line to get the next one at DCon.
Wow, thanks.
Maybe not first, but I'll be there.
Now, I love the Wizard too, and do you foresee having any other colorways come out of them? Stick with the original release.
No, I want to do the pink translucent version.
Okay.
And it's in the works. And might be done by DCon. Maybe not. We'll see how things go.
Okay. I think I did see a leak of that on your Instagram account, and I think it looked really nice.
Yeah. I had an early prototype of that.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you know that you were just going to go right into self-production, or did you maybe shop around some of these designs before, going the self-production route?
No, I guess maybe it's a question of not being very well known. I hadn't done anything. I'm just, some guy. So I didn't even really attempt to go down that route. I jumped right in and tried to produce something to get it out there and see how people responded. And the Wizard was such a small run that I managed to do it on my own, and I had a lot of support and advice from My Plastic Heart. Those guys kind of walked me through the process, and I was showing them all my designs, and they really liked the Wizard. So
they know what they're talking about. They have a good pulse on the market. So I'm glad you took their advice.
Yeah, for sure.
I can see, I can see Designer Toy Awards coming up in May. I know this is early, but I like to make these predictions. I think the Wizard's going to be in there. I don't know what category, but it's going to be in there. And if Breakthrough Artist is still around, I think you're definitely going to be in that one as well. Well, I think you might win it too.
Wow, making predictions.
I know, but I was right last year, George. The 2 predictions I had, I got right. So I'm feeling bold, and I'm feeling like, yeah, Sad Salesman, Breakthrough Artist of the Year.
Wow. I can only hope.
Well, be sure to mention me when you give your acceptance speech.
Yeah, it'll just be about you.
It is the DTA, so anything can happen. You could, there might be someone in there who's been around for the last 5 years or something and steal it away from you. But I like you as my horse. I do.
So do you like, all right, how am I put this? Is your artist name Sad Salesman? Should people be calling you Sad Salesman, or do you want people to call you Eric?
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, it's fine for like a show or some kind of display. If it says Sad Salesman, that's fine. But like if you see me on the street, that might be a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it as far as that. I just kind of went with it.
Did it sort of start out as Sad Salesman just kind of being like your brand, and somehow it sort of got attached to you as being your name and like your moniker?
Yeah, because it's just me, really. But yeah, I created this. I sat down and I think the original was a painting I did, and I was just trying to think of like a really sad figure, because if you make like a really sad but cute character, it's and you can't help but feel for them, and it's appealing in a way. And like the saddest thing I could think of was this this little failure of a salesman.
And if anybody hasn't read Sad Salesman, go to his website and read the comic. It's very short so far, but I'm sure it's continuing. But go read the Sad Salesman comic on the website. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. You've read it, I think.
I have, yeah, many times actually.
No.
I like to go back and look at it again just because they're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had kind of a flow of all these ideas for him, but then I took it to a point where I'm like, oh, where can I go from here? And I have some ideas brewing, and I'll probably have a second wave of new adventures for the Sad Salesman.
Well, the Sad Salesman is just one of your designs. Like when I met you at 5 Points Fest, your table was just filled with one-off sculptures and all amazing, character designs. Like as a collector, you sort of wanted everything at your table, but you were only selling the Wizard, and now you have the Dessert Oracle. So, what was your thought process, or how did you come to the decision to do the Dessert Oracle as the follow-up, vinyl toy behind the Wizard?
Well, I actually did some research. I was very diligent. I did like a little online poll on Facebook and on Instagram where I showed like 4 or 6 different options, and I had A, B, C, D, and just like comment on which one would you like to see. And even though it was a little bit tight between an Oracle type of character, and I'd also have this symbiosis character, which is like this headless kind of Bigfoot guy who has a tiny little dude on top that serves.
I saw that one. He's cool. It's such a fun looking thing.
That serves as his head, and neither of them can kind of function without the other. So it was a bit of a tight race between the two. But what I found was, like, people who are really into like the toy scene, they would tend to vote more towards the symbiosis guy, and then your average person, I don't know if that's the right word, but
average.
They all went for the Oracle. So I figured maybe that has more mass appeal. To me, I love them all, so I just went with that one.
I love the stacking aspect of the Oracle. I also like the long, skinny legs with all that weight on top, and plus you have the mix of expressions. You got the sort of looks like angry and quizzical guy up top, like the brainiac who wants no business of being on top of these guys. Then you got the happy-go-lucky bunny in the middle eating his ice cream, and then you got the big guy on the bottom who's also happy. So you got a good covers a lot of ranges.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it kind of just happened organically as I'll start with the bottom guy, and then I have to balance it out with something else, and then once I got to the top, it just felt right that he would be grumpy and unsatisfied about something.
I got a beef to pick with you, Eric. Actually, recently you had a, what is it? You showed a picture of your toy on Instagram, and you said, like, give them a caption. It was like a 3-word bubbles for each character. And if your caption won, you win the toy. Now, personally, I mean, not that I guess I'm a little biased being it was my submission, but I feel that my submission was the best of them all.
Well, I think
the winner was good, but mine was better.
Not at all biased, though.
No, not biased at all.
Can you say yours again? Because I'm not sure.
No, sure. I can actually sing it for you. It's loosely based. Well, not loosely. Okay. It is based on a very popular Right Said Fred song. It goes. Here it goes. The bottom guy, I'm too sexy for my hat. Middle guy, too sexy for my hat. Top guy, I don't know about that. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Gary.
No, you're not feeling it.
Well, and maybe it's my brain comes to a halt because they're not really hats.
No, but they are hats. I mean, the way that I wrote it, they are hats. They're each wearing each other as hats, and the top guy's like, I'm not a part of that. No,
you get points for Ryan.
All right. Agree to disagree. It happens.
There was a lot of cool submissions to that one actually, and
there were.
Some of them were really close to capturing, the kind of essence. And even though the winner maybe not like a total bullseye, but it's something that I feel like could have transpired between the characters.
That sounds a little biased to me.
Yeah.
Gary, you lost fair and square. It's okay.
I did.
It's
I
okay.
know. I'm such a bad loser.
You lost. You can try again next time.
All right. I'll accept my loss.
The winner was the bottom guy goes, knock knock, and the middle guy goes, who's there? And the top guy goes, who cares?
See,
that's
funnier.
That's not funnier. It's a knock knock joke. It's not better than Right Said Fred. But I'll still buy your toy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the oracles, there's maybe in hindsight some exploration of like the humor of being passive but still having an opinion. Like it's the guys who are just along for the ride. It's kind of funny to me that one of them is so unhappy about it, even though he doesn't have to do any of the work, which might be, inspired by my kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I see a lot of me in that top guy.
I wonder why.
I like that side eye, I like the little anger.
When I look at it, it's like the Marsham toy hours. Like, I'm the guy in the bottom carrying all the weight, and then Teresa's in the middle, like happy-go-lucky as can be, and then George, you're on top, kind of like disgruntled. It's us. Now, with it being an oracle, why didn't you? I think there was some really well thought out oracle fill in the bubbles.
Right.
Why didn't you go that direction?
Yeah, I mean, originally, or one thought I had for the packaging was to have all these quotes from, what a dessert oracle might be saying. But the thing happened so fast that I couldn't think of all the clever things to say.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Coming up with that sort of stuff and the story, the backstory, even sometimes packaging design is, you got the figure and now you have to like come up with the packaging, and that's a whole new set of challenges in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I had no idea. Like they sent me the template and it's like, oh my God, which side is up or down? So I actually reached out on social media and I got some help from an artist. She goes by the name of Angry Duck, and she had some experience in packaging, so she could decipher this template for me.
Nice.
So how's the balance on that figure? Was that an issue?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a little scary, but I think I learned a lot from the Wizard, which, again, I had no idea if it was going to stand. So at first I had him 3D print the model through, what is that, Shapeways?
So are you sculpting these digitally?
No, well, I have an original, but I feel like, this is going to be a mass-produced thing, and I want it to be like perfect, which, may or may not agree with that, but being my first toy, and if it didn't sell, I didn't want it to be like, oh, it's because my goofy, not perfect model was not what people wanted.
That's part of the charm of your characters, though. I really like that, the hand sculpted stuff really lends well for your characters.
Right, yeah, and I might grow the what do you call it? I don't want to say the balls, but to be brave enough to include like my own mistakes in there. Maybe in the future. It was just, this being my first toy, maybe I wasn't confident enough to do, a copy of something that's so, handmade and imperfect.
Sure.
I had some help from actually my neighbor who's into, all this 3D stuff. He hooked me up with a guy who could look at the model and make a perfect 3D version. Okay. Yeah, so the first step, I had it 3D printed just to see if it could stand, because that was a big issue. And it stood perfectly. So I just went ahead. I think also from doing my own models, I noticed that how important a little heel is. Mm-hmm. Even though that's not something maybe I would choose from a design point of view, but adding a little bit of heel on there, it almost guarantees that it's going to stand. And with the Dessert Oracle, I actually contacted an old buddy who does all these 3D stuff, and I sent him a drawing and from all the angles and made a note about the heel. And so I was fairly confident that it would work, and it did. I didn't even do a 3D printed test with that.
Nice.
You know what appeals to me probably most about your work is just they're beautiful, like simple, clean forms, and they're balanced really well. They just make great silhouettes. I can appreciate the heavily sculpted stuff, but it doesn't particularly appeal to me. I tend to like the cleaner stuff that's more shape based, and that's what your work is, and that's really what draws me to your work. Plus the expressions, I think that they're fantastic. Like you said, they draw you in.
Oh, thanks. That's kind of like what I look for in toys. That simple but endearing and quirky quality.
Now for the third one, you're just gonna have to keep going. Every 6 months, every 6 months I want a new toy from you. Every 6 months I expect a new toy. This is ridiculous. Every decon, every 5 points, new toy. Okay, Eric?
Okay.
And for the next one, I want the traveling turtle with a little guy on top.
Yeah, that would be great. I love that guy. I love the little boots. Like, that's the kind of stuff that makes me smile. The idea of a turtle walking across your room and you can hear the little click-clack of boots.
Yeah, it's awesome. So make that happen. Contact Pretty in Plastic or whoever you're working with and get it going.
All right.
You don't want the Sad Salesman next? Come on.
That would be pretty awesome, too.
I did do a 3D print of the Sad Salesman. There's a guy on Instagram, I think he goes by Engine Cogs. And he's like this young kid who does 3D, and it's just incredible turnaround. And he hooked me up with a 3D model of the Sad Salesman.
Oh, cool.
And I did end up doing a 3D print. I painted him, and I think I had him there at 5 points. I don't know if you saw him.
Not sure. You had a lot there. I just kind of got lost in the masses.
Maybe.
And you also been doing custom work. I saw you did a really nice custom Labbit for the Pix Circus theme show there at New York Comic Con, and it was fantastic. I love that piece.
Oh yeah, thanks. Pick they've been really super awesome with me. I have actually have a few like originals sitting there now, and I was there for like a signing at their shop, and kind of like the last minute they're like, "Oh yeah, then we're doing this Labbit thing. You want to do a custom? You have time?" And since I never say no to anything, sure. So yeah, I got a Labbit and took it home and had to think of a circus theme, and I turned it into an elephant. And
I loved it, and I want it. And maybe if anyone at Kid Robot's listening, please, I want that as a mass production Labbit. I need it, please.
Thanks. Yeah.
And again, if that happens, you should thank me again. I'd appreciate it.
I will continually thank for whatever happens.
What are you sculpting in? By the way,
I'm using Magic Sculpt. It's a 2-part epoxy that you mix together equal parts, and then it's I guess it's a chemical reaction that starts, and you have about.
You got to work quick.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's like an hour before it starts getting a little hard to work with. But so I end up working in small sections, and it also reacts really well with water. It becomes think of regular clay like pottery. you can actually smooth it out with water, which the opposite is true for Sculpey. Water just beads right off.
Right.
That works well for me. It might not work well for other people, but I really like that aspect of being able to shape it with like clay, and sanding is super. It responds super well to sanding.
It does. I haven't worked in it much, but I agree with everything that you said. Usually I only use it when I'm doing a custom. I need to add a little something to it. I've never actually sculpted a full figure, but for just little added details to a custom or something, I use Magic Sculpt, and water always works great. And then, the sanding's always, it's like butter. It just sands really easily.
And I think exactly, if you're making an entire, one-off that you're going to, put in the show and sell, I feel like this Magic Sculpt has more of a permanence and than Sculpey. Like Sculpey would be great if you're just making, something that's going to be molded, but if you have a one-off that you're putting in a show and it's going to, go in someone's home, the Magic Sculpt really lasts and is durable and it's strong and feels good.
It's so strong, and I'm amazed that it sands so well. I was actually turned on to it by an artist named Valency Guinness, and her work is kind of like faux taxidermy, where it's just like the head's attached to like a plaque. But it's often like animals with really long necks and usually a lot of antler work. So the fact that, she sends her work all over the world, and your stuff has to be really durable and strong. So the fact that she uses it, that's what turned me on to it. And I love that something that's strong sands so easily.
Yeah, it's got a very unique feel. It's almost like somewhere between plastic and stone.
And you're trying to actually cast your own work too. I think I saw it with you sculpted the beach ghost and then you casted that yourself.
Yeah, that was a funny story, or maybe not so funny, but it's a story. I was gonna do a piece for Spoke Art. They do all these themed shows. And I was invited to do for Miyazaki, the director of Spirited Away and Ponyo and all these awesome movies. And my original idea was to do a Ponyo piece where I get like a fish bowl from the pet store and do like a little seascape in there and put a little Ponyo in there and then fill it with resin. So I was asking around and I got some recommendations for, what kind of resin, a clear resin that would work in that scenario. But then I got sidetracked, or I didn't want to do that anymore. I ended up just doing a straight up Ponyo piece when she's in her like half fish, half girl phase. Are you familiar with the movie? Or?
Never seen it. No.
Right. Well,
I tuned out about 4 minutes ago.
It's trippy interpretation of The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
I ended up just doing a sculpture of her. And then I had all this resin and said, what the hell? I'm going to try to do something with this. And I sculpted this little ghost guy, actually with Sculpey, which, like I said, is great for if you're going to do molding. And I just went to the art store and I found this remeltable stuff.
Is this that yellow stuff that I see in your Instagram?
Yes. Yeah. So I made a mold where the bottom of the guy is flat. I stuck them in a little plastic bowl that had a flat bottom. I put them in there. I poured the gooey molding stuff from the art store, and it all worked out.
It did. They look great. They're nice and clear, and I don't see too many bubbles or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I had a few mishaps. It's really fickle. Like I'm doing the exact same thing, and it turns out, and it doesn't turn out. I have no idea why, and you redo it, and then it works.
You've been there, right, George?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff is trial and error. I had just one of the last projects I was making, I mixed the resin, the A and B, and put in the mold, wait the appropriate amount of time, go and take it out, and it had cured. The outer bit had cured, but it literally felt like it was like Play-Doh inside, like inside of a resin shell somehow. So I could like move the figure around and like turn it and twist its head, and I was like, this is weird. So I was like, it's gonna eventually set, right? Because like it's set on the outside, and I couldn't figure what was wrong. Like, did I put too much tint in? Did I not mix enough thing? I finally figured out I had done the measurement for a 100-gram batch on the part A and then a 50-gram batch on the part B.
Mm.
And I just completely I was looking at the wrong number chart when I was doing it, and I just spaced on it and did the wrong thing. But it was such a weird, you get that kind of stuff when you're doing, when you're doing this stuff. Sometimes you hope that it always sets up at some points, you can get out of the mold, you don't wreck your mold. But yeah, you're going to have a lot of trial and error with all this kind of stuff.
Did you get the itch, Eric? Now, do you want to get a pressure pot and all that stuff and start doing a lot more resin casting?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, once you get into like the real, resin stuff, it's like, kind of toxic, and I'm doing all this from home, and
yeah, it's probably not the best environment unless you have a totally separate workspace.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what a lot of again, I reached out, I got some advice from Peter Cato. Yeah, he gave me some advice, which he later totally didn't remember giving, as far as like resin, you need your own studio, and you don't want to be doing that from home. But yeah, this clear resin that I'm using is actually like no VOCs and not toxic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can we expect any beach ghosts at DesignerCon?
For sure, yeah. I have them all building my little army.
Cool. And you just wrapped up doing New York Comic Con, so are you already all set for DesignerCon, or are you still burning the midnight oil getting ready?
Well, since I don't say no to anything, I
oh man, you gotta change that.
I'm working on something all the time, and right now I'm super late on another piece for Spoke Art. They're doing a Wes Anderson show.
Oh, the snake piece that I saw on your Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thanks.
It's looking good. Are you going to end up painting it?
Yeah, I'm painting it now. All right, I was painting it all today. I was trying to figure out how to do like some kind of snakeskin stencil. I ended up buying like fishnet stockings and laying it over.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working out, I think.
Good. Yeah, trial and error. Experiment. You don't, it's already late though, so you don't have time to do too much experimenting.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm
get it done.
Duper late. I gotta get this to them.
You know what you should do is you should clear coat it and then instantly, like before it dries, wrap it up and bubble wrap it and ship it.
Yes, that's always
I hear that's a real popular thing for custom shows. All right, Eric, so I know this is going to be your first DesignerCon, so how about a little DesignerCon 101 for you?
Please.
We got George Gaspar here. He's an expert. He's been doing it. Have you been doing DesignerCon since it was VTN, since its very first?
I did it since before it was even VTN.
Whoa.
When it was called Keister, and it was a key show.
Damn. And you've been, God, when was that? That must have been 2006, 5?
Somewhere in there, yeah. Early. 2005, 4 maybe?
Let's give Eric some pointers on what to expect.
Give me the lowdown.
How much stuff are you bringing?
I only have an artist's table, but I'm bringing the remainder of my wizards and the beach ghosts and a whole lot of dessert oracles.
Okay. I've never had an easier loading experience than at DesignerCon. Their loading dock area and the ease of getting stuff from your car to the convention is by far been the easiest convention experience I've had. So if you are driving and you have that stuff and that's how you're planning on loading it, piece of cake. So no worries there. That's easy.
Even if you don't use the loading dock, you just park on the street, or if you get to the paid parking where you keep your car all day, even that to walk in is easy.
Yeah, I'm staying at like an acquaintance's house, and I'll probably just be taking like taxi or something.
Uber,
yeah.
All right, that doesn't sound too bad.
Right.
Do you have anyone there with you? Is it going to be you by yourself, or is your friend going to be helping?
No, it's just me.
Well, how are you going to take pee breaks and stuff? You got to be able to eat lunch. Bring some snacks.
Get to know your neighbors.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I did the same thing at 5 Points. The bathroom thing was the biggest issue, but it worked out. I made some friends, and they were able to watch my stuff for 5 minutes, and I'll run back.
Well, tell you what, I'm not a vendor. I'm not stuck behind an exhibitor booth. So for a small fee, maybe at a dessert oracle or something like that. I don't. But you can text me, and I'll be right over, and I'll manage your booth if you want to go out for lunch or take a pee break or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm there for you.
I'll just text the number 1 or 2 to you. and you'll know.
There you go. Yeah, let me know. That will give me an idea of how long I can expect. I'm saying it's a service that I'm offering up to people this year.
Great.
I mean, this is kind of like the Oscars, right? Where everyone needs to pee, and they have fillers at the Oscars. So I am going to be a booth filler. So text me. I'll take care of you.
You just walk around and ask people, "You need to pee? How are you doing?"
Well, I'm not offering it up to everybody, but the people I like, it's a good service. I'll offer up to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What else? What can you tell them about Hall C, George? I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
I mean, it's not. It sounds like it's far away because you're like, oh man, where is this? It's another room. It's literally right across the walkway outside the door. It's not like you could see it from the other hall. It's not like it's far. Everyone in whatever room you're in, you always think the other rooms are better. So like the people in the front in the carpeted room and the one, they're always like, oh, our room is too dim. The big room is better because the lighting is better. And then the people in the big room are like, we don't have carpet. The carpeted room is where everybody likes to chill and hang out. And then the people in the Hall C are like, ours is Hall C. It's all the way across the hall. Nobody comes over here. And it's like, none of that is true. If your stuff isn't selling, it's because you're not looking at anybody. Like the only people I've ever seen fail at DesignerCon are the people that sit there with their head down, looking at their phone and not looking at people or talking to anybody. Like if you're a people person and you could talk to people and have a conversation and do your sales, that's what it's all about. And of course have cool product, but like the only reason anyone's going to fail there is if they're not trying.
Well, you're golden, Eric. You got awesome product and you're standing, you're engaging when people approach the booth. So no worries.
Yeah. Or doing a pee-pee dance. Possibly.
Yeah. Or that when he's waiting for Gary's text. There's no bad spots. There's no bad location at DesignerCon. It's too, the audience doesn't let a bad location happen because the people that go to DesignerCon are there to look at everything. They have money, they come to spend, and they want to buy cool stuff from the artists that are there making it. And they go to every booth. Like it may take them all day to go to every booth or 2 days, but they go to, like, the people that go, they don't just wander around or just go to their friend. Like they go to every booth and look at everything.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. I wish I can walk around. Gary?
If you want to walk around, I'm your guy. Because I'm going to need a place to sit. I've been walking all day, so...
Win-win.
Win-win. Yeah, bring your snacks, but let's say you didn't. There's a grocery store right across the street, and there's an outdoor, like a mall area. So there's food options, restaurant options, food chain options, and then maybe a block away is the main strip of downtown Pasadena. So once... you close up shop for the night, walk the strip, and there's tons of restaurant options and all that good stuff out there.
Sweet. They don't have like a food truck or anything like that that's out front?
There was a rule against food trucks in Pasadena at the convention center, but I think that there's a loophole where they can park across the street. So I think that there will be food trucks. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, yeah.
But there's food literally across the street, and there's a Starbucks in the building. So it's not, you don't have to go far for food. There's a ton of restaurants in Pasadena.
All right, what else? Some more DesignerCon 101.
Yeah, is there are there like events like after parties or after something or
yeah, both Friday and Saturday. There's a vendor after party on Friday. It's at a bar called The Wolf right down the street. As you can walk there, it's a couple blocks down. And then on Saturday there's an after party as well. That is for all VIPs. I don't know. Do vendors get into that? I don't really know how to get into that. I don't really know any of the details, but I'm sure it's on the website. But yeah, it's at the Masonic Hall. I think it's again like right across the street. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Now for the Friday night one, you said it's vendors. Is it strictly vendors only, or any listeners that aren't vendors, could they show up?
I mean,
how strict is
it's a public bar, so I mean, I think you could get into the bar, okay. But I don't know if there's going to be like a vendor only section where you'd have to have a vendor badge to get in. But I mean, come on, Gary, I'll get you a vendor badge.
Oh, I wasn't worried about myself. I'm thinking about the listeners, George.
Well, they won't come till Saturday anyway, because on Saturday is when they show up. So vendors are in town early for setup.
That's true. I do know on Thursday night, when you coming in, Eric?
Yeah, Thursday night I'm coming in, but yeah.
Okay, so I know the crew over at the Toy Chronicle, they're having like a pre-Designer Con little shindig going on at the Doghouse, which is it's a little restaurant joint, burgers and beers and hot dogs and stuff. That's just maybe a block off of the main strip there in Old Town Pasadena. So if that's anything that listeners are interested in, you want to hang out with Gary and the Toy Chronicle crew, have at it. They're going to be there on Thursday, November 9th from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. So get your beard hugs there.
Nice.
And us here at the Marsham Toy Hour, we're going to be over at the Bowlmore on Saturday night. If anyone who hasn't been to a Bowlmore, it's an amazing bowling joint. A bar set up, tons of video games, amazing bowling lanes and all that stuff. So we'll be there on Saturday night. We haven't decided an exact time, so probably around 8 or 9 p.m. And we'll let everyone know once we know more details.
Nice.
You really like the atmosphere of Designer Con, Eric. It's real casual. Everything's pretty much within walking distance. You don't really need a car unless there's absolutely somewhere where you want to go to L.A. or really outside of the area. You can walk around Old Town Pasadena. There's a mall across the street. A lot of people like to go and hang out at the BJ's. It's a restaurant over on the corner.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So everything's within walking distance. But the Bowlmore that we're going to, I think it's about 5 miles away. So you probably need to grab an Uber or something if that's something you want to go to.
Okay, cool.
So you ready for a round of lightning questions, Eric, before you wrap this up?
What is that?
Well, lightning round is like anything in a game show where you get hit with a burst of questions and you just try to answer them as quickly and as well as possible.
All right.
All right, let's give it a shot. Do you recall what your first designer toy purchase was?
Yeah, Dunny's Series 1 blind box.
Okay. What was your most recent designer toy purchase?
It was a popsicle mon.
Awesome. That's a great one.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that myself.
I don't even know what that is. What is it?
It's called Popsicle Mon. It's a toy coming from out of the East by 16M Design. So you know those, double stick popsicles?
Yeah.
Okay, well, someone made a popsicle monster of that. So it's an anthropomorphic, popsicle monster toy. So he's got two little feet at the end of the stick, so he stands on his own without any base. And it's like, he's got two faces on each side of the popsicle. So it's like the Siamese, very cool looking, like melty popsicle guy.
Yeah, and the little popsicle stick feet are just genius. Beating myself up for not thinking of it.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Where do you get this thing?
Well done. Mainly Asia, but I know you can pick it up at vvc.bigcartel.com, and it's like $38 plus shipping. Asia.
And they have some really cool new ones too, with like chocolate covered ones and stuff.
Yeah, I like the original though. I know I've seen some other ones, some other colorways, which are really cool, but for some reason the original is the most appealing to me.
Right, but I think he has a new one. It's a different shape, a different type of ice cream.
There's that one. Is that one upside down melting into the puddle? That's awesome. Is that part? Wow, these are cool. I've never even heard of this thing.
Yeah, maybe they'll be at Designer Con. I don't know.
It says 16M Design. Is that a company name? 16M Design? I don't know. These are cool. I like this guy a lot.
Yeah, they're awesome. And I think it is 16M Design. I think that's probably the producer. I'm not exactly sure. And then I know it's a collaboration with another, maybe a design firm called Alieniland, but I don't know all the details, but we'll put a link to it in the Marsham notes. All right, so next question. If given the next lightning question. If given the opportunity to do your own vision of a license, what license would you choose?
License. I'm not a huge fan of licensed stuff, so it'd have to be something super cool. It'd probably be Adventure Time.
Nice. That's the perfect fit, actually, and no one else is doing it. What toy have you purchased that made your wife squeamish in the price that you paid for it?
All of them.
Wait, so she doesn't collect? She's not into the designer toy stuff?
Oh God, no. She sees my mounting collection in horror.
But she was into the art, right? When you guys did the gallery.
Yeah, for sure.
Just not the 3D part of it.
Yeah, no, she didn't make that leap into the toy world, I don't think. I mean, she.
So is she more like the wizard giving you the side eye, or is she more like the top guy of the dessert oracle?
I'm not going to answer that, Gary.
Smart.
Is she going to listen to this? Let's see. In 3 words or less, describe designer toys to someone who's never seen a designer toy.
Okay. Like a 3D art print.
3D art print.
Yeah. You know, like you can get a print of someone's painting.
I get you.
Okay.
I get you. I'm not sure if did you succeed on that one, George? What do you think?
I mean, I think that's exactly what they are.
Okay. Then excellent. You did good. All right. Let's just last question. Being a student of filmography, what is your favorite Patrick Swayze film?
Ghost.
Nice.
Is student of filmography the right way to say that?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I'm not a student.
I think student of film. Maybe student of film.
Student of film?
Yeah. The filmography is like a body of work of a certain thing, right? Like I think that's the wrong word. I was going to call it on you earlier in the episode, but I let it slide, but then you brought it up again. So I just couldn't let it go.
Oh, so I sound like an idiot the entire episode, and now people realize. I got
I saved it for the end.
Okay. There you go. So Ghosts, was it the clay scene that got you?
Yeah.
Where they're molding, he's reaching around and he's molding with his wife.
You see it? Yeah, we're doing like full circle with the water and the
full circle. Full circle. And Beach Ghost. This it all makes sense. All right. Well, Eric, thanks for joining us. It was awesome. Looking forward to seeing you again at 5 points and being your reliever.
Yes.
DesignerCon.
What did I say? 5 points? God, I can't talk tonight.
You just combined two
Eric,
sentences. You said it was great meeting you at 5 points, and then seeing you again at DesignerCon. But you just combined it all into one.
This is what I do. I don't know how I exist. All right, so Eric, thanks for joining us. It was awesome talking with you, and looking forward to meeting you again at DesignerCon and relieving you of your booth when you need a break.
Yes.
Why don't you take a brief moment and let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can check out my website. It's sadsalesman.com, or on Instagram, it's sad_salesman. Yeah.
Okay. George.
You can find me at Double G Toys on Instagram, and that's good.
And I'm Gary Ham. You can find me at Gary Ham on Instagram or superham.com. This has been the Marsham Toy Hour. We do this every week, not because we have to, but because we want to. So until our next transmission, we're signing off. Bye.